Hey guys, Rami here. So the House voted yesterday to increase the second stimulus checks from the tiny $600 to $2,000. This is obviously after President Trump demanded that number, which now puts the Senate in a very tough position, especially Mitch McConnell. The bill that passed in the House yesterday not only increases the checks from $600 to $2,000 for adults, but it also increases them for children and includes adult dependents at $2,000 also. So this will be a very popular bill with the people. Who wouldn't like to get $2,000? A family of four would get a total of $8,000. But this is a very expensive bill for the Senate Republicans to pass. It is estimated that this bill alone would cost about $460 billion on top of the $160 billion it will cost for the $600 checks. So the grand total would be $620 billion. This is just for stimulus checks. I find it really difficult for Senate Republicans to pass this thing, but it will all come down to Mitch McConnell bringing it to a vote. The bill, which they call the Cash Act, passed the House with just more than 2/3 of the votes at 275 to 134. The interesting part of the vote is that 44 Republicans voted for the bill. So that's about 22 or 25% of Republicans in the House. Not sure about the no votes and stuff like that to get an exact number. But the thing is, if we get the same ratio in the Senate, we can potentially just pass this bill in the Senate too. If all Democrats vote yes, which they most likely would, then we just need 13 Republicans to vote yes. So right now, Mitch McConnell is the only person standing in front of this bill passing in the Senate, or at least putting it out for a vote. This will get very tricky for Republicans when it comes to the Georgia Senate runoff elections that are happening on January 5th, because let's say Mitch McConnell brings this to a vote and he gets 13 Republicans to vote yes. Then the Republican Party will look divided and the constituents may not like that. It's always better going into an election with everyone in the same party on the same page with the same message. On the other hand, getting $2,000 checks for individuals, adults, children, and adult dependents is definitely something to be celebrated. Picture someone going to vote on January 5th. The House just voted and passed $2,000 stimulus checks per person, and every Democrat is saying the only hurdle between you and the $2,000 check is Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who is a Republican. But if you vote for our two Democrat senators, the Democrats will take majority and pass the Cash Act and send you $2,000 checks. I mean, it's a very tough position to put Mitch McConnell in. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes right now. He's also getting pressure to put this bill for a vote this week. Bernie Sanders tweeted yesterday saying, "At a time when so many people are facing economic desperation, the $600 direct payment is a step forward, but it's not enough. We need to increase that direct payment to $2,000. Biden wants it, Trump wants it, Pelosi wants it, Schumer wants it. Now Congress must vote to do it." Which is true. Everyone in Washington now supports the $2,000 checks except Mitch McConnell and a few Republicans. He also said he'll try to force the vote by objecting to the veto override of the NDAA. This week on the Senate floor, Mitch McConnell wants to vote to override Trump's veto of the $740 billion defense funding bill and then head home for the new year. "I'm going to object until we get a vote on legislation to provide a $2,000 direct payment to the working class." So he can't really block it, but he can filibuster it until after New Year's Day, which means that the Senate will have to be working on the 2 days before the new Congress comes in, which happens to be the 2 days before the runoff election, keeping the two Republicans in the Senate instead of campaigning. So the Democrats here, they're really cornering Mitch McConnell from every direction, and it will be interesting to see how he reacts to this. Best case scenario is to bring it to a vote and just see who in his party votes for it, but not sure if that's going to happen. Also, let's not forget that Bernie Sanders told us before that he would object to anything other than $1,200 stimulus checks, and then when he was under the spotlight, he withdrew his objection and called the $600 substantial and a step in the right direction. Now, getting back to the 12 or 13 Republican senators to vote yes for the $2,000 checks. We know Senator Josh Hawley, who was calling for $1,200 checks with Bernie Sanders a week or two ago, will probably be okay with the $2,000 check. Then actually breaking news right now, the two senators that are up for re-election in the Georgia Senate runoff, Republicans, they support the $2,000 checks. Obviously, they're going to do that because they need the votes on January 5th, but that's great. So We already have a few Republicans there in support of the $2,000 checks. Then we have Senator Marco Rubio releasing this statement yesterday. I agree with the president that millions of working class families are in dire need of additional relief, which is why I support $2,000 in direct payments to Americans struggling due to the pandemic. For months, Republicans tried to pass additional relief for workers, families, and small businesses, only to be rejected by Democrats at every turn. Remember, months ago, Speaker Pelosi and Democrats rejected the administration's previous offer of $1,200 per adult and $1,000 per child. Thankfully, she's finally stopped holding working families hostage. I share many of my colleagues' concern about the long-term effects of additional spending, but we cannot ignore the fact that millions of working class families across the nation are still in dire need of relief. Congress should quickly pass legislation to increase direct payments to Americans to $2,000. This is great. And he ends it here by saying, I also stand ready to work with my colleagues to make much needed changes to Section 230 and take steps to ensure the American people can once again have confidence in our elections. This is the Section 230 thing, whatever, but he supports the $2,000. So we have some Republican senators already showing support for the $2,000 checks. It will all come down to Mitch McConnell putting the bill for a vote. I personally think if he does put it on the floor for a vote, it can squeak by and pass. We'll see. And by the way, many Republicans are not just concerned about the spending, but they also think that since this is not super targeted, it's not really going to help the economy that much. And this is where I kind of agree. I mean, just imagine a family of four making $150,000 and didn't lose their job this year. They can potentially get an $8,000 stimulus check. This family is not going to take this money and spend it on all kinds of things to boost the economy. Given the current circumstances and the uncertainty, they may be wise enough to just save the money or invest it, which doesn't really circulate the money much. The way that the stimulus checks are meant to boost the economy is if people get this money and they go spend it at a grocery store or a restaurant or something, then these businesses will pay their employees and keep them employed. Then these employees take the money and spend it on other things, and then the dollar just moves and it circulates in the economy. But if people just take the money and save it, it doesn't help much. So this is where we stand with this right now. Do you think we'll actually get the $2,000 checks? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I mean, we're getting, support from a few Republican senators there, so maybe. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. Please hit the like button on the video, share this video with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click the notifications bell to be notified whenever I publish new videos for you. Also, make sure to check the link in the description for the Yada savings account. It's a new savings account that is FDIC insured but gives you interest with a lottery system. If you use the link below, you'll get 100 tickets when you deposit as little as $25 for a chance to win up to $10 million. Then you'll get a weekly ticket for every $25 that you deposit. I think this is the future of banking as it encourages savings to earn more chances at winning a large prize. Also, don't forget to get your free stocks from Webull, potentially worth up to $1,600 when you deposit only $100, which is just like cash. You can take it out anytime you feel like it. All the links are in the description below. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.